and welcome to It's Fate. I'm Morgan Barker.
I'm Katie Christiansen, and we have a guest today.
Dayna. Hi.
Back again. Dayna is going to be with us to fan cast at the end of this recap because we are finishing ACOWAR today, which is very exciting. We'll be covering chapters 70 through 82.
Yes, and today we are wearing our fighting leathers, which...
Geared up for war.
Yes. I don't know, again, Dayna, you're wearing all leather right now. Could you fight and not be so sweaty?
No, I would literally be drenched in sweat. I can't even sit right now and not want to sweat. I'm hot.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it.
No.
They have magic.
That's a great question.
Cooling powers.
It must be in the way the leather's made.
Do they not sweat?
I don't know.
I feel like they probably do.
They probably do.
But it's still their go-to wardrobe. Mm-hmm. So it must not hinder them.
No.
I don't know.
They're fake.
They just slide around.
Yeah.
Slippery.
Like little leather seals.
Oh. Okay, so I had the personal question of the episode, and I want to know, in which fantasy world, and this could be any fantasy world either that you've read about or like watched, would you want to live in?
That's a really good question.
I mean, I think it'd be super cool to be in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the way it looks, that you could have, you know, magic. The school. I want to go to that school.
Yeah.
Or like Narnia.
Yeah, Narnia's
That'd be cool.
good.
Yeah, Narnia would be cool. I'm assuming like post evil dictator.
It's this is a peace. You're living in peacetime.
Okay.
All
Living
peacetime.
in peace. I want to live in Terracin. Take me.
I thought so,
I
too.
will serve Queen Aelin all the way.
Same. But I also thought of Barbie Land. Does that count?
Oh.
Yes, absolutely.
You're happy all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the women rule, and
Actually, yeah. And you have cute outfits.
you're
Yeah.
never looking bad.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Not too bad. So many options.
I'd like to have a dragon, like in Fourth Wing. That'd be cool. But, I mean, that world does not seem cool to live in. But if it's all peaceful, then being able to
times.
bond to a dragon would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, because even like Throne of Glass, I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound... Not Throne of Glass. Oh my gosh.
Crescent City?
Nope. Game of Thrones. There it is.
Yeah, it looks
I'm
cool,
like,
but...
it looks cool, but like, no.
No.
There's too much.
No.
Too much going on. It's not
It's
about
too
that.
scary.
I'm looking for peace. All right, so starting in chapter 70, the battle with Hybern begins. Spring and autumn and the humans show up to help, and the king brings out the cauldron and blasts some soldiers to dust, including the bone carver. Sad.
That was
R.I.P.
quick.
Yeah, right off the bat.
He died right off the bat.
He really did.
He did.
Oh my goodness.
He killed a
ready
lot of
for it.
people, though, didn't he?
I think so, yeah. I actually noted in
yay.
here, which I mentioned in our last episode, Katie brought up that he had a bone that he used to fight, but he used it, he would just like point at people and then they'd die, so it was like a wand.
Like a little wand?
Yes.
Ew.
Yeah. So when the battle truly starts and Farah describes all the powers colliding and what people are doing, it was a really cool picture, and I don't think I paid as much attention to this the first time I read it as I did this time, of like the details of how people wielded their powers. I feel like I understood like a smidge more than the zero I understood last time.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got better understanding. The bone wand.
The bone wand.
Okay, I noticed that Farah says that her guts twisted up, and I was like, what happened to the watery bowels?
They've
Huh?
changed. She's
Now they're
healthy
just
now.
twisting?
She's healthy now.
She had to suck it back.
Her guts are just twisting. She's gonna have the
Yeah.
watery bowels later from the twisted
Later.
gut.
But she held it in.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
she
what
didn't
that
eat.
means.
She didn't eat today.
No.
So she didn't have anything
She's
to be
holding
watery.
it. Oh my gosh.
It made me so emotional when the humans showed up. I was like, okay, this is like so good.
They also have the most to lose.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you're mortal. Like you don't have powers. You won't heal, but you're still showing up to fight.
It made me stressed, actually. I was like, don't. You guys are all going to die,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also, made me, like, not hate Tamlin as much. Because, like, knowing that he, like, went to go get Baron and was like, you're coming with me. We're all going to rally together. I'm like, okay, Tamlin, I hate you, but maybe not that much.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like his story is very up and down, where I'm like, no, just, blast him from this universe. He doesn't deserve anything. And then I'm like, wait, I want him to heal. And then I'm like, die.
He actually reminds me of Nesta a little bit. He's annoying and makes bad decisions, but you're like, there's underlying reasons.
Yeah, you're like, okay, if you just get this figured out, like, you could be awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe not awesome, but
decent.
Better.
Better. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. So Nesta starts calling for Cassian's name because it's, like, assumed that she probably saw, like, what was going to happen before it happened. Do you think she was, like, confident in knowing that if she started calling for his name that he would go over there?
For sure.
Yes.
He'll do anything for her.
Yeah, I love it.
He's obsessed with her.
Yeah. But he won't touch her in front of Mor. Because a couple episodes ago.
Wait, I thought... Yeah, I've listened to it.
Yeah, Cassian's hand was being cleaned by Nesta or something, and Mor walked by, and Cassian pulled it away really fast and was suddenly, like, icy towards her and just went straight to Mor.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that.
There's some
I'm
holes
surprised
here.
Nesta even ever got over that.
I know. Maybe she still holds it against him sometimes.
That's the real reason why she hates Mor.
I'd be like, ultimatum, you're never speaking to Mor again.
Oh my god.
Like, if she ever crosses your mind, I will zap you
I'll
with my
know
power.
I'll know it.
The cauldron will tell me.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I know the bone carver died right away, kind of. But when he died, there was a moment, Farrah saw it happen, and she said he kind of paused. And, like, didn't he turn to her and smile?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is kind of beautiful. And Dayna just made, like, the most disgusted face. Whereas I feel like maybe he knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I got emotional.
I don't feel like the Bone Carver or any of these bad people have ever actually been bad.
That's how I feel, too. The Weaver is a little questionable to me.
Oh, she's...
Just because she's gross.
Gross.
But
Yeah.
even we'll get to her death too. But in the way she dies, it's like, okay, it makes me think of, you haven't read CC3 yet.
No.
Okay, so I won't spoil anything, but you know about the Princes of Hell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how it's like, okay, they're hell, so they're supposed to be so evil, but they're kind of helping Bryce a little bit, and we get more of who they are, and it's like they are bad, but they still have, like, a threshold for what is truly evil. And they understand that some things need to be done for the greater good. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's kind of how these monsters are.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Weaver's just trying to survive.
The Bone Carver has just always helped her.
I know, but
Yeah.
why is he in the prison? Like, what did he do? He had to have done something.
Yeah. But
He
so
says he
was
trapped
Aaron.
himself there. Remember? Into protection from the Weaver and
That's right.
his brother, Koshi.
So he didn't do anything?
I think he's still not, like, good. You know,
Yeah,
like,
but I don't think he's not feeding off of people's flesh or in, capturing young women and keeping them as some sort of bird slaves.
Just let
I
him
don't know what
carve his
Koshi's
little
doing.
bones.
She's a little jokester. He just likes to prank people and show them their worst fears.
Yeah, he's like, you kill them and then just give me their bones.
Yeah.
It's all good.
He's in prison for being a prankster. Mm-hmm. Wrong.
Wrong.
Wrongful imprisonment. Get him out.
Okay, so then Hybern starts to swarm them, and everyone is basically saying their goodbyes when Dracon's army and Mr. Archeron with an armada from Queen Thassa show up.
Wow.
Yes. Feyre's, before they kind of show up, Feyre's thinking to herself that, like, she would do anything to stop Hybern. I'm like, Feyre, I love you. You're just such,
I
a
know.
good person. And
She
sometimes
is.
it's like, how are you such a good person?
I
just love her so much.
I know, I do too. Anytime SJM writes in this manner, which she does all the time, where she basically writes as if someone is going to die and they're all saying their goodbye, and it's like, and I knew I was never going to see them again in this moment, and I always fall for it. Every time. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm crying. And then I'm like, none of them are ever going to die.
they're not.
Ever.
No.
And I've read this book before, so I know
Yeah.
that they don't. But
It's the thought.
still cried.
If it's a random character, they're going to die.
Yes.
But none of the core
No.
Not even like a prominent side character.
No, not even, well...
Like Varian wouldn't die, but like how much do we know about him?
Mm-hmm.
Almost nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Not even like another High Lord. Like Baron, come on. He could have
Kill him,
died.
please.
Come on.
We're begging.
Please.
So Nesta seems to know that it was her dad that brought the armada, like, and the ships and stuff before they really know. How do you think she knows that?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Because it was like she was just like staring, and Dracon was basically like explaining.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it made me think of when Farah slipped into Lucian's mind, and Nesta somehow knew that that's what she did, even though Nesta didn't even know Farah could do that. Mm-hmm. Like, how does she just know something?
Maybe she's just very observant, and then her dad was doing little shady things and leaving for, you know, so maybe
doing something
because
across the
Nesta was
continent.
home at some point, wasn't
Yeah.
she?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just want to know how their father did all of this. Like, how did he go from this bad-legged man who could barely whittle wood to leading an armada and, like, going across the country? Like, he let his children practically starve, and now all of a sudden he's a savior.
Yeah.
And I mean, I did get emotional again.
You did
I'm like-
cry again.
I did cry. I was like, oh my gosh, what a good dad.
Finally.
And then I'm like, wait a minute.
He wasn't.
No.
The
Yeah,
whole time.
yeah, yeah.
This was the most unrealistic part of
Agreed.
this entire series.
Yeah.
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 I also think it's interesting that their father was on Nesta's ship, on the one named after Nesta.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think he was on that ship?
She hated him the most.
He had the most to make up
Yeah.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
potentially. Also, it's his oldest, so I don't know if like that has something to do with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you get extra special love as the oldest, Morgan?
Absolutely.
Is that what you're telling us?
Sorry, I'm talking to two younger siblings. They don't know.
Sorry.
We
just,
weren't
you know.
parentified, so
There you go.
We're also one of two.
yeah.
It's true.
So I
I'm,
feel like that's
I'm
different.
one of three. I am Nesta,
Yeah.
but I'm not.
No.
My middle sister is the Nesta. We've discussed this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, Nesta gets emotional, like me, seeing their father leading the charge on the Nesta ship, and then we see Vasa, the Firebird, swing into action.
I feel like this is what we were talking about, is like the storyline of the dad, of their father, like conveniently like knowing all this stuff about what's going on. I feel like it honestly like kind of bad writing. It's just
I
like too
know.
convenient that first of all, why would he be invited? He was just like living in poverty. Suddenly
And
he's like connected to like the political affairs of the continent. Like
Yes.
It really does not make
I'm
sense.
like, this isn't good.
No.
I want a bonus chapter on this. I'm like, if she'd included a bonus chapter or something that gave us even just a little bit of background, I feel like it would have been like, okay, whatever, I can look past it. But yeah, I was like, what?
Suddenly he's like this super powerful guy.
No.
He would never do that. That is not in his character that was written.
That's
He
what I
let his
think, too.
daughters starve, but now he's going to step up once they're actually fed.
That's the thing. I'm like, okay, now you have money, and now you're like, I'm gonna be good daddy.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Something that I think I like read it on like Reddit or something, and they were talking about how it almost seems like SJM wasn't really planning for Nesta, Elaine, or Mr. Archeron to like have these big character arcs, because when she first wrote Elaine and Nesta, you get these very just like evil sisters. They're very like one-dimensional, and like sometimes they say things where you're just like especially Nesta, where it's like almost unredeemable. And I feel like if SJM maybe had planned a little bit better, it wouldn't be so much of like, okay, who's this Mr. Archeron guy? Like suddenly he's the like father of the year.
Yeah.
Like why is Nesta suddenly helping when like all the previous, you know, when we first meet her, she was just rude. Elaine seems very vain when we first meet her. It's just
Yeah.
Actually
And,
kind
like,
of
kinda
mean.
Yes.
Like when Feyre comes in from hunting and she asks Elaine to do a simple task of chopping wood, and Elaine says, "You already like stink, and your hands are already so gross."
No, they're totally evil stepsister vibes.
Yeah.
Even though they're not
Yeah.
her stepsisters. It makes me think, like you said, Katie, that maybe she continued writing and realized that because Farah is so kind and loving that like she would not abandon her family. And so she was like, I'm going to have to bring them back somehow. Whereas if Farah maybe was like not so golden hearted and had a little bit of bitterness in her, could have let that go.
yeah.
I probably would have let
I
them
would have
go.
let them go.
Well, they were living in, like, they were fine.
Yeah, I would have said you're paid for.
Yeah.
The debts
I
are
gotta
paid.
go. The
They're
debts
taken
are
care
paid.
of.
Everything's good.
See you later.
The way Vasa, the Firebird, is described makes me think of fire sprites, like Lahaba. And in Crescent City 3, we get to see some of them in action. And the damage they do when they're this big is a lot. So I'm thinking about, like, a human-sized fire sprite doing damage. No wonder she destroys the whole armada. Like, that's insane.
Wait, what was in Crescent City the person that they were trying to find? Wasn't that a Firebird?
The queen.
Thunderbird.
Thunderbird.
Sophie. I thought that too. I was like, oh my gosh, connection. Nope, different.
Okay.
Yeah,
But yeah, Lahaba was... That's actually trauma. I can't talk about that.
I understand.
I can't talk about Lahaba.
All right, it's time to move on. Nesta offers to use herself as bait for the king, with Cassian guarding her, and Amren and Farah make a dash for the cauldron. And I just love the relationship Cassian, Rhys, and Azriel have, and like the conversation where Cassian tells Rhys it's time to let others make the sacrifices. Got me good. This is just going to be a tally of how many times did Morgan cry? Are you drinking? Because take a drink every time I say I cried.
I feel like it shows that a lot of them are, like, willing to sacrifice
Yes, and Rhys
everything.
is he's a little prideful in bearing that burden, and I can understand why, but like he has so many people who are very willing to help carry that with him.
Yeah.
And before they leave, Nesta hugs Farah and tells her to tell her father that she said thank you. So she's like, tell Dad I said thank you. Do you think Nesta thinks she's gonna die?
Yes.
She would not have done that if she thought she had to live and see her after. She would be so embarrassed knowing that she was vulnerable.
Right? But also, like you said, like she goes from being like honestly very cruel to now, in a matter of what we know to be 6 months, like I'm gonna sacrifice myself for all this. I mean, go, yes, but it seems a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. Her character isn't consistent throughout the series.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because she's sacrificing herself technically for the humans, which she's always been on that side. I don't know.
That's true. And sometimes I wonder, I thought this about Tamlin too, how people will argue that his character is inconsistent as well. I kind of feel like that is intentionally written sometimes to show that they are not, I mean, is anyone ever really like fully healed? I don't know. But like they're not healed. They're very much in the depths of their trauma. And so they can't even be who they really are yet. And so that leads to the inconsistencies.
I do think it's weird, though, that Nesta's been, I feel like, reconciled with Feyre at least 3 times in this series and then is so mean to her right after again.
I know.
Like, when she found her, right? Didn't she reconcile and take her back to Tamlin in the first book?
Yeah, she was like,
Yes.
go.
And she was
And
nice
she
to her.
said she went to like look for Farah after Farah was taken.
And then she's nice to her here. And then again, and then she's just mean all over again.
I know.
Again, it's a little, inconsistent
Yeah.
character arc.
Amren and Farah make it to the cauldron where Striga, or the Weaver, buys them time and is killed by the king. And Farah realizes that for some reason Amren tricked her into believing that they were going to nullify the cauldron. And I thought it was interesting. We kind of talked about this a little bit, but like both the Bone Carver and Striga appeared to choose to sacrifice themselves for this cause. Why do you think they did that?
I have no idea why Striga would do that. It doesn't make sense. But, I mean, Amren, I guess it makes sense. It's her, everyone she loves.
Yeah, Bone Carver. You just think he's like secretly good?
I don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it, I mean, would it affect him?
Well, he dies.
He dies.
No, but like if they lost, would it even affect him?
No, but I mean, they chose to. It felt like he knew he was gonna die. You know, like he was choosing. And same with Striga. Like, even though maybe she thought she wouldn't die, she was like, "I'm going to put myself in a position that could be sacrificing myself for you."
They are death gods too, so they may have known their death, like as long, like they've maybe knew that this was like in their fate to die
Interesting
in this
point.
way.
Yeah.
I remember when I first was reading this book, and the chapter ends like kind of like on a cliffhanger of like like Feyre, like she's being tricked by Amren, and I remember first reading this and being like, oh, Amren's evil. Like,
Me too.
I was like, oh my god, something's gonna happen. Like Amren's tricking her.
Yeah.
I kind of would have liked that.
I wish that would have happened.
Because I'm not connected to Amryn, and I feel like
Yeah.
she's so aloof and like apparently is super powerful, or was, but yeah.
I would have liked it better than what happens.
Yeah. That would have been an interesting
That would've
plot
been cool.
twist.
So it seems that Feyre is somehow now like a part of the cauldron's consciousness as she's like holding on.
Yeah.
And it like the cauldron kind of like floats across the battlefield. The consciousness of the cauldron, not the real cauldron.
Yeah.
Floats across the battlefield to hunt for Nesta because it wants the power that she got back, or she like stole. And then the cauldron finds Nesta just as the king winnows in front of her and Cassian, and he has their father with a knife to his throat.
Dun dun dun.
So while they're like while Feyre is like seeing the cauldron go across the battlefield, she sees that Kier, Mor's dad, and says he has plumes of shadows flaring from him. I was not aware that he had magic in this way, of like shadowy magic.
Oh.
Cool.
It's kind of like Azriel. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Has plumes of shadow too.
I feel like Azriel's shadows are alive.
Yeah.
And that's what makes them different, though. But I wonder if, like, a lot of powerful Night Court members have shadows.
That would make
or
sense.
like cloudy, like
Magic.
dark clouds.
Misty.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't want to be misted.
No.
No,
Absolutely not.
no.
Okay, so along the way, Pharisees, Rhys, and Helion transform into their beast forms, and I like that she describes them as like terrifyingly beautiful, and it makes me think of how she saw herself in the Ouroboros, and it's that way. And it made me think, at first I was like, oh man, it seems like all of the High Lords are very hesitant to go into their beast form, but Tamlin is constantly in his. Why do you think that he's like totally fine with that, and everyone else kind of hides it?
Now that, on the other hand, goes with his character.
Right.
I feel like showing his beast form, he just can't control himself.
Yeah, maybe he's not shifting purposefully. Who knows?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. And I think he's like almost like not in control of it.
Yeah.
Right? He like it's like he can't control his beast
He's
inside
probably more
him.
comfortable in his beast.
He probably is. I mean, Feyre did say sometimes he would like curl up
On the floor.
on the floor and like protect like them on guard.
Interesting.
So then the king kills Mr. Archeron and then practically kills Cassian before Nesta attempts to use her power against him, but she fails. And right before the king goes to kill Cassian and Nesta, Elaine shoves Truth Teller through his throat.
Whoa. Whoa. Plot twist.
Yes.
Would not expect that from Elaine. Okay, so before this happens, before the dad dies, Nesta is like, I'll do anything. I'll give you the cauldron's power back, you know, which is interesting because she clearly hates her father. Do you think she's really doing this for her father, or do you think she's doing it for her sisters? Or like willing to do this?
I don't know. Maybe it's for herself, too.
To have like, to not have that, like his blood on her hands.
I don't
kind
think
of.
she actually hates him.
I don't think so either.
Or
No.
maybe you can
but-
hate someone and love them at the same time.
I think you can, for sure.
Yeah.
You can not like somebody and still love them.
Yeah. I can still not want them to die.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. When Elaine previously prophesied that it would take more than the king shredding Cassian's wings to kill him, I think it was referring to this moment. I think that a lot of people speculate, like, oh my gosh, is something coming for Cassian? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think it was referring to this. I think the king would have killed him if not for the love of Nesta and Cassian, and then the love of Elaine for Nesta. And I cried. I was like, love's the answer, everybody. So cute.
Cassian tells
Yeah.
her, like, I'll find you in the next life. Stop.
Were you crying?
Stop. I was like, oh, I love him.
Oh my
It was
god.
just such a sweet moment.
I agree.
Yeah, it's so sweet that he's willing to still be so lovey and vulnerable with her, even though she's given him absolutely nothing.
Literally.
Yeah.
And he's still like, I know you love me deep down.
I know. Well, and
he
he.
knows her heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sense it deep down, buried in there.
He knows her
Buried
heart.
under a lot of rubble and some steel.
Inside of a locked box.
Yeah.
Inside of a vault.
Yes.
Inside of a...
Those Chinese
That can be
dolls.
only opened by the drop of some very rare mystical creature's blood. That's the only way to access it. When Elaine stabs the King of Hybern, it made me think of what we talked about last episode, where she kicked the beast, or the hound that was trying to get Azrael when they were leaving the Hybern camp when he rescued her. And I was like, yes, like, let's get more of this. I can't wait for her book. I'm like, I want to see badass Elaine come out. There has to be some sort of battle that she has to go
She
through.
has to train a little bit.
Yeah,
Feyre did,
she can't just cook
Nesta
and be
did.
in the garden. Not to shame that. That's fine too. But I feel like that would be a boring book.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I feel like I've judged, now that like I've been listening to these recaps back and you guys called out the timeline of this, I feel like I'm a little more generous with both Elaine and Nesta.
Mm-hmm.
More so, I mean, Elaine, because she hasn't been mean. She's like, she's
Like,
so
depressed.
like she's so unhelpful. Get over it. Like, help. But I'm comparing her to Feyre, and not everyone's Feyre, and I wouldn't be Feyre.
Yeah.
I'd probably be Elaine.
Yeah, it's like you
I'd
never
be scared and
know.
depressed.
But as a reader, you're like, get it together.
Yeah.
All right, in the next chapter, the cauldron returns into itself, like the consciousness does. And then Farah also returns. And Amren's like, get it together, fight to stay in your own body, because she wants Farah to wield the spell to unbind Amren from her body so that Amren can shatter the cauldron and stop the army. When they're traveling back, they see Elaine, and it says that the cauldron would not hurt Elaine and retreated because Elaine defended Nesta, even though she was like someone who was so lovely, it gifted her something. What do you think that means? That it's like afraid of her because she defended Nesta?
It's afraid of Elaine?
Yeah, like or like left her alone.
Yeah, I think because like it sees how lovely Elaine is, that it's kind of like, oh, you think Nesta's like worth defending, like I'm not gonna attack her anymore or like try and get my power back. But dang, Elaine has a lot of like sway there.
I know. I was like, I want to be Elaine. Just
That's what I'm
so
saying, like-
lovely that this cauldron gives me something. Everyone's so obsessed
There
with
has
me.
to be more to her, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, what? Everyone's in love with her.
She's alluring.
I know.
I want to be her.
Enticing.
Yeah.
In her garden.
So on Feyre's way back with the like cauldron consciousness, she goes through the battlefield again, and she sees that Helion is really bloody and he's fighting against a Hybern commander who doesn't look like he's hurt at all, but Helion is. And I wonder what the powers that they have, because the Fae on Hybern seem to have like different powers than the Fae on Prythian. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't really get a look into like life on Hybern. Like, what is that like?
Weren't they all have black eyes or something like that?
Yeah, they all
Yeah.
came off as if they were under some sort of spell.
Yeah.
Or inbreeding, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do they all look like soulless?
I
Like,
know.
Not that if that's like you're a bad person, if that is what your history is, but I'm just saying they all look the same. Okay?
Katie's trying to cover all her bases here. Katie's trying to make sure she doesn't offend a single person on this
Yeah,
podcast.
not even Hybern.
Sorry, Hybern.
Or incestual people.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't choose that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that.
Oh, okay.
Like,
okay.
it's like if you were just born, you don't.
Oh,
get to
I
choose
see. I thought you were
You don't-
referring to
you didn't
people
choose.
who chose it.
No.
And I was like,
their offspring.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, cool.
Yeah. uh-huh.
They didn't choose to be inbred. Okay. Leave them alone.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway, do we think when Amren is talking about her origin, and she talks about like watching humans in her world and how she wasn't allowed to feel or live like them and how she hasn't been able to find love and all these different things, do you think we get any clues to like where she's from? You know, I'm always trying to figure out, who are you, Amren? What?
So something I noticed, she always mentions a father, but she never mentions a mother. I don't know.
And what was her role again? And she was like an
She was
assassin,
like a soldier assassin.
but like a god at the same time.
I don't know.
Some sort of powerful being.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do not remember.
I'm just so curious about her.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really get a lot of information about her.
No. Amren is unleashed, shattering the cauldron, and sweeps through and destroys every last bit of Hybern's army, and then she is gone.
Like, why didn't she just do it to begin with?
I don't know. There's a lot of things they could have done differently.
I mean, I guess they had to get to the cauldron.
Oh yeah, because
Why
she's
couldn't
like
they just like winnow her there
Mm-hmm.
immediately and toss her in?
That's true. Toss her in.
Well, I guess she's the only one who knew she had the capability of doing this, or...
You know what? She didn't want to tell anybody, so I think she came up with this plan because she's like, I bet if she told Reese, Cassie, and Azriel, they would have been like, no, we're not doing this. Yeah. You know what? We should just be their war generals next time.
They love keeping secrets.
They do.
Secrets.
Don't make friends.
Don't make friends. They are no fun. What is it?
Do you want my little quote?
Yeah.
Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone.
There it is. There it is.
Remember that next time.
And they make no friends.
They do not.
Go.
Okay, based on this vague description of Amren that we get, I no longer really think she's a Valg.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Which is from Third Lip Gloss.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I've not read it, but...
Come on,
But again, when
everybody.
I don't understand
Tell
something,
Dayna
you're
she
saying
needs
that
to
it's
read
probably
it.
from Throne Glass.
Okay, didn't Amren say that in ACOWAR that if she were to return to her true form, she wouldn't remember anyone and wouldn't be able to control who she killed? But here she is able to control only killing Hybern's armies. And I love that she thought this about herself, but that when she was in her true form, she actually had more consciousness and like memory than she thought she did.
I wonder if, like, when her being, like, her before having to be in, like, a Fae body, like, she, I don't know, I feel like she says, like, these things about herself of, like, I didn't have feelings, I didn't have all this. Yet she wanted love still.
Yeah, that definitely
So,
makes sense.
I don't know.
It's like she wasn't allowed to have those things. That's like the verbiage she uses. Like it wasn't allowed.
But she was envious of it.
Yes, she
wanted
it was envious of humans because they could just live so carefree.
I don't live carefree. I'm riddled with anxiety, so I don't know.
I was gonna say, what kind of
Amren
feelings
is.
are you looking for, Amber?
Yeah.
Depression? You want depression?
Come on
Obviously,
down.
doesn't have good feelings when she can feel. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
That's true. She's always like angry.
she is an interesting little gal.
She's like, why did I do this?
Okay, so with the cauldron now destroyed, a void begins to appear where it once was. One that like starts growing, and Feyre starts to realize like, oh, the world is gonna like collapse without the cauldron. And Rhys offers himself as like a conduit in order for Feyre to have enough power to channel enough power to remake the cauldron.
Okay, won't spoil anything again for CC3. This does make me think of something that happens near the end of that book.
Oh.
Dana's like, yeah.
I feel like I've read the book. You guys are giving so
Sorry,
much spoilers.
I know. A friend of mine said the same thing, and I was like, oopsie.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm
well,
trying to tone it down.
yeah.
So it just makes me think of something that happens at the end of that book. Do you know what I'm talking about, Katie?
I think I do.
Others out there? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. That's
Okay.
it.
I don't.
Read the book.
This won't
I
really
know.
spoil anything with CC3. But in Throne of Glass and in CC3, the word is mentioned. And
Yes.
in Throne of Glass, the word is basically like, kind of like the cauldron, like their god, like their power. But they also call her mother, like we mentioned. And then Feyre remembers a painting that she saw in the spring court with female hands holding the cauldron and bringing it life.
And that's the mother.
And that's, I think, the mother. And
Yeah.
she essentially does the same thing here, right? She like holds the cauldron and puts it back together.
Because it's like when you do like that to like pinch somebody's head. You know, where you're
Yeah.
like, oh, you're so small. But like just the angle, like that's how it was. Like she was holding out her hands, and it looked as if the cauldron, like she was holding the cauldron. That's how I pictured it, at least.
Oh, I
and
thought
she was
that's her
like,
holding it.
I think it's huge.
I think it's huge too.
Yeah, maybe she was touching it, and it just made her think of that picture. But I pictured like a illusion of the eyeballs, whatever that's called.
Made me wonder, like, was that painting a prophecy, or was that painting a like origin story of their world in the cauldron? That like this like greater being made the cauldron of life for them.
Here's the crazy thing about having a multiverse and like weird stuff with time. Like it could be both, which is just, I don't know. Season 2 of Loki wrecked my brain when it comes to like time travel and all of that. Did you watch it?
I started it, but I haven't finished it.
It's just a lot. And sometimes I'm like, I'm never going to understand that. Moving on. So I feel like it could be both. Like that Farah is somehow...
It was prophesied, but also it was done.
Yes.
At the same time.
Yes. Very interesting.
Yeah. So then Rhys gives all of his power to Farah and the cauldron heals, but Rhys dies.
Tears.
I wasn't scared for a second.
I still cried. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
When they're writing about it.
Okay,
and
wait.
like,
Dayna, do you cry when you read these books? Because I'm gonna be... I like don't.
No, I cried when I read Crescent City and Lahaba died. I cried a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever cried in these books.
Me either.
I'm
Because no one's ever died.
Tears. I know.
Yeah.
I just get emotional. It doesn't have to be sad.
I was just wondering if I was just like a stone cold bitch or if...
No, I don't cry
It's...
very... I think I cry more when it's sad, but also, you know, like, for example, Lahaba, she had her power and she, you know, she was finally...
She's like, in the name of
getting her
I am
power.
Lahaba,
Yes,
the
I was like,
queen.
oh my God.
You know, granddaughter of the queen or whatever
I
it
think
was.
I cry more when people are being brave.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah.
I also cry. So like when we were rereading ACOWAR and we read when Farah accepts the mating bond from Rhys, I got emotional. Like I cried because I'm just like, to me it's just, I love and it's so powerful and it was so beautiful like to see how far they've both come and like I just loved it. So I cry at a lot of things because I just feel like that's just, I respond to life in that way.
Yeah.
No matter what's happening.
Good, I love it.
Okay, so right before they start to heal the cauldron, Farah went to enter Rhys's mind, but his walls were up. And she assumed that they were just left up from battle, but we know that he did that, so she wouldn't know that he was planning to sacrifice himself. What do you think about her decision, or his decision to do this without telling her?
I mean, it's either like he's gonna die either way. Like either the world is gonna be destroyed and he's gonna be dead, or he's gonna like sacrifice himself for everyone he loves.
It also was kind of probably like a split-second decision.
I know.
Yeah.
I think I would have
sidebar.
done the same thing. And it comes down to that whole thing of like, do you save one or save the masses? And I think he made a good decision here.
Yeah.
But knowing he dies, like knowing that was going to happen, reading it the second time, when he's just like repeating, I love you, I love you. It made me like, it was so gut wrenching.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I might have cried more this time, like because of
You're gonna
knowing
cry
what
again.
happens. I might. I don't know.
I was like, wait, your eyes are misty.
Oh my gosh, the good kind of misty, not the Rhys misting. I just. Okay, moving on. Everyone comes to surround Rhys and realizes what happens. After Farah begs them to help, they all give him a kernel of their power, even though they don't know if it was gonna work. I wrote again, I don't care that I know how the book ends, I'm still weeping. Like, and then when Tamlin showed no emotion and it seemed like he wouldn't give his kernel to Rhys, and Farah's like, I'll do anything, he just says, be happy, Farah. What do you think about this? This is when I was kind of like, okay, I'll take your redemption arc now.
Farah says that like he has like this shift in his eye, and I wonder if he's finally being like, yeah, Farah loves Rhys so much. Farah also like would give up anything for Tamlin, right, at the start of the series, and I think he's finally realizing like, oh, she actually loves him, and like he makes her really happy, and clearly he's not like this super evil like guy. So I don't know.
I think knowing he's not actually evil at this point probably helps.
Yeah.
And even though he's pissed at her, he doesn't want her to lose her mate.
Yeah.
Especially after everything they've been through at this point, all the war and stuff.
Plus, it's awkward. Everyone's doing it, and you're the only
I know.
asshole who doesn't do it.
Even more hated.
He's like, I pop this kernel. Sorry, I'd rather
Here
waste
it
it.
is. I'd rather waste it. Oh, man. Rhys comes back to life, and then all of a sudden, Amren's climbing out of the cauldron, having given up her old powers, and now she's just high fae. I was so happy and am happy that Rhys stayed alive. And at the same time, I'm like, not everyone can just come back to life.
It is if you're a main character.
I know.
Every single person came back to life except the dad.
Literally.
And then the little side character monsters.
Amryn dying and sacrificing herself would have been beautiful.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it should have stayed.
Yeah. I mean, I like what she does in the next book for Nesta, but...
I don't even remember her being in the next book.
Yeah, she's in the next book a lot,
What
no?
am I forgetting?
Yeah,
What am I
and
forgetting?
Starlight and Frost.
No. Sorry, not the next book.
Like
the
Silver
book after.
Flames. Yeah.
I guess I'll find out.
You'll find
Something
out.
new that I forgot.
I was like, okay, fanfic idea. Reese stays dead, and Feyre and Nesta could actually like heal together because
And Farrah can be a part of the Valkyrie squad.
she would love the Valkyrie.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Reese gets in the way of their relationship a lot.
I think it goes 2 ways.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's all on Reese. I'm just like, I think
Yeah.
because they don't like each other, Feyre's kind of
Yeah.
in this weird
Yeah.
spot.
Oh, absolutely, she is.
Yeah.
I also think it's super lame that Amryn had to give her powers to the cauldron.
Yes, the only way that she was able to come
It's
back.
kind of lame. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, let her be powerful.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe
it's-
she's too powerful.
I think it was like, so she had to sacrifice
Something.
her old body in order to get the Fae body. And now, to come back into her Fae body, she has to sacrifice her powers.
Okay, what does Reese have to do to sacrifice?
He's a High Lord, it's different. I don't know.
Well, he did something different. He didn't climb in the cauldron.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I
I want
he's
Amryn
not,
to be
like-
powerful.
Yeah, I like her to be
know.
powerful.
Well, I also want her to be powerful because I still don't understand her powers.
And now she doesn't have them.
Now she doesn't have them, so I'm never going to understand them.
Okay, then Feyre, Nesta, and Elaine go and say goodbye to their father. And while Nesta stays behind, and Feyre and Elaine are like leaving, and Lucian meets up with them.
Yeah.
I love that they were able to get some kind of closure with their father, just
Yeah.
because they've been through a lot.
I know.
Together.
Surprise, surprise for those keeping track. I cried.
Yeah, it's almost worse, I feel like, to say, have to have someone die when you're on the worst of terms with them.
Yeah, because it felt like they never reconciled. Like they didn't get that opportunity.
Because her father never actually did anything to help them. Feyre did. That's why they got their money back.
Yeah.
He didn't actually ever do anything
Yeah.
until
Just
the
sat
end.
there whittling away.
Whittling, quite literally.
Whittling away, twiddling his thumbs,
Yep, making little,
trinkets.
yeah.
So when Elaine and Feyre and Lucian are all walking together, Elaine seems more interested in like actually talking to Lucian, and even tells them like, "Oh yeah, you should come back to Valaris with us." Okay, I really want them to like at least be friends because I think they would
Yeah.
get along really well.
This is another thing, like between this and then Frost and Starlight, it's like this suddenly just goes away. And Elaine is now like, cold, don't look at me, don't talk to me. I'm like, what? Are you just like having adrenaline from war?
What happened?
What
I
happened?
don't know.
Yeah.
It would be cool though if they were mates and they accepted the bond, but it wasn't sexual and it was just
Like friends.
mate, like actual
Yeah.
like, hey, you're my mate, like
Yeah.
British people.
Wouldn't that be so? But then if they did fall in love with someone else, I feel like that would be potentially difficult for whoever they fell in love with to
Maybe
be like,
they're-
but you have this like deeper connection with this, like a different kind of deeper connection with this other person.
But it's kind of like a brother and sister, you know?
Yeah, but now I'm thinking of those Hybern siblings.
Oh,
They were connected.
well,
Too connected.
that's just gross.
Yeah. No, it would be interesting though. I want them to have some sort of relationship, whatever that looks like whether it's friendship or something else.
Yes, that would be cool.
Yeah. Feyre then goes back to the tent and meets Miriam and Dracon and asks if they were willing to hide the cauldron on their island. Miriam and Dracon were also convinced by Moore not to kill Jurian. I'm like, damn, the Fae hold a grudge for so long.
so long.
It's literally been so long. This poor man, Jurian, has been trapped as an eyeball for literal hundreds of years. Leave him alone.
No,
Seriously. Absolutely
he has
not.
never paid for what he did.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've mentioned this before on other episodes. I always get a little confused with the Miriam and what do we call him?
Dracon.
Dracon. I said that the other day and they were like, no, Draken. And I was like,
I don't like Dracon.
I don't
Dracon.
love either, but like
I feel
what
like
else?
I said Draken, but I'm probably
I don't know. I think we're all
Wrong.
Miriam and Dracon, I get confused with their timeline. So I actually found someone on TikTok whose name is Hannah, and I'll put her actual TikTok in the show notes. It's for free. She made a timeline, like a very detailed timeline of everything in the Maasaverse, like individualized. So there's like the ACOWAR one, Throne of Glass, and Crescent City. So for anyone else who didn't catch some of these little things, I'm going to share a few details.
Okay.
I don't know if I missed this, but Rhys actually sacrifices his legion to save Miriam during the First War. Do you guys remember that?
No. I wonder if we find that out in Silver Flames. I don't know.
Ish.
I don't know. Maybe we find that out later. But that's how he's first captured by Amarantha. Remember how he's captured and Amarantha doesn't realize who he is? Mm-hmm. That's why he got captured, because they all sacrificed themselves for Miriam.
Oh, wait.
Because we learned about that.
Yes, that he was captured first.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then everything goes down with Durian and Amarantha at the end of the war. And Dracon and Miriam march with Mor to the Blacklands, which I'm always like, what are the Blacklands? We don't really know what that is, but that was a part of the First War, to free the human slaves. And the Queen of the Blacklands is the one who was engaged to Dracon and gave Miriam to him as a gift. And they're attempting to leave the Blacklands and escape, to find that their ships were destroyed and the Blackland Queen is now coming after them. And that's where the Nefel story comes in. So, made a little more sense in my mind. So just thought I'd share in case anyone else was confused.
No, that is helpful.
I am confused, yeah.
Because I was like, Blacklands Queen, like, who is this Queen of the Blacklands? So I was like, is this another TIFF? Is this another area? But it was all a part of the same war.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Feyre then calls a meeting with everyone, like the humans and all the Fae, and meets Queen Vasa, who asks her if she could break the curse that's holding her to the Death Lord on the continent. Because remember, the other human queens, like betrayed her, and now she's like trapped on this lake. With Koshi. When Tamlin sees Lucien, Tamlin like is all disgusted at Lucien wearing the Illyrian leathers.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, they almost all died, and he's still mad at Lucien for this. Like,
he's so petty.
He's such a shitty friend.
And all over again, I'm like, get him out of here. I'm done.
Like, I know you have
I'm very easily swayed, apparently. Yeah.
Well, again, because he's just like, he does something and you're like, okay, yes, like, follow that. And then he doesn't.
In the same breath.
In the same breath.
Yes, it's so frustrating. Pick a lane and stay in it. Either be a jerk. Pick a lane. Oh my gosh, I do think that they could heal each other. I don't know.
I do not like that. I do not like that. No.
I feel like absolutely not.
No, I think Elaine needs someone better than Tamlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, she really does deserve better.
She does.
Plus, it's like, no, I don't think sisters should
share a man.
That's
share a man.
That's something I forgot about.
No.
I always forget about Tamlin.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No, I don't either. Yeah, every time I think about, I want his redemption arc, I don't want a book about him.
No.
I don't care who he falls in love with. But I would just like to know that, like, tension has been eased, that some things have been resolved a little bit, and he's figuring things out. You know?
I'd be okay with that, too.
In this book... Yes, never mind. It is this book where he helps Feyre escape when they go to get Elaine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, maybe it's not a full redemption, but I just don't care about Tamlin anymore. I don't hate him anymore. I'm just like, I don't...
Yeah, exactly.
I want to read about you or forgive you, whatever.
Yes, if we hear that, like, Tamlin sent aid to something cool, that shows us that, like, all right, he's finally making good decisions, but I don't need a full Tamlin story.
No.
Oh, Tamlin POV?
No. Absolutely no.
That'd have to be written by a man. We'd have to get another writer in here.
For real. Oh my goodness.
So Queen Vasa tells Nesta that their father was a better father than her own. I'm sure this really hurt Nesta because she's like, my father was actually really crappy to me, and now you're telling me he's so great?
No.
Okay, Lucien also comments on how great he was, and he's like, your father was a good man. I'm like, what do you guys really think about this? Because, like, good is kind of subjective, right? But why now? Like, why did it take money for him to decide, I need to do what's best for my daughters?
To you.
Yeah.
A good man. To you.
Yeah.
Not to me.
Not to the actual people that it it matters. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you were a good man to these random people if you're not a good man to your own children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be pissed.
Same.
I'd be like, don't make me speak ill of my dad who just died.
Yeah, don't make me tell you that he sucked.
I actually really don't want to hear that right now.
He actually left me starving for dead, so...
He's like laying right there.
He's like burning, his body's burning. He's like, actually, I kind of hate him.
No.
I know he just died for me, but...
Yeah.
Doesn't mean all's forgiven. Okay, so we're starting to see some loose ends here as they like are talking more with each other and everything. That we haven't seen tied up yet, even all the way through Silver Flames, including Eris calling in a favor from the Night Court, right? That still hasn't happened.
No.
Tamlin and Lucian reconciling still has not happened. And then stuff with Vasa's curse. Any predictions in any of those areas?
I definitely think that Eris is going to call in the Night Court to kill his dad, and so Eris can be High Lord. I do think that Queen Vasa is going to play a bigger role.
I think so too.
I don't know about the Tamlin Lucian thing.
I would like to know that they've reconciled, but I
Yeah.
want it from Lucian.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to hear Lucian come back and like tell Farah or somebody.
Mm-hmm.
They
Not
need
that they.
Could you imagine?
Since like episode 1.
I know.
When Katie asked me, do you think Lucian and Tamlin have ever kissed?
No, I'm like, actually, Elaine and Lucian are best friends, and then Tamlin
Is
and
the lover.
him end up being lovers.
Tamlin and Lucian end up being lovers.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the only one that we've seen that Tamlin, like, could stand Tamlin.
I know.
Yeah.
And loves him unconditionally.
They're in a toxic relationship.
They're so toxic.
They really are, but I mean, they've been through a lot, right? They have a lot of history, so I would, not that I don't want Lucian to go back there, I don't want them to be buddy-buddy, but I would just love to know that they've, like, reconciled a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like your predictions a lot, Katie. Okay, they spend the night sharing stories and negotiating a new treaty with no real decision made. They're just chatting.
They're just chatting the night away.
They're just like, I got a story to tell now. Now I have a story to tell. And I'm
Trauma
like,
dumping?
Oh my god.
They're literally
Like, all of a
trauma
sudden,
dumping.
everyone
Literally.
gets along.
Well, Farrah's like, I'm going to tell you my whole life story about how I made Faye. And then Reese is like, me too. And then everyone's like, me too, me too, me too. And I'm like, whoa. All right.
Getting nothing done.
So, Feyre mentions that Elaine, like, watches Grayson leave, and she's still wearing his engagement ring. And honestly, I was like, oh, Grayson's hate for the Fae triumphs his love for Elaine. That is so mean. She deserves someone who loves her unconditionally.
Yeah.
If I were her, I would also be so sad and hurt.
I don't even think he ever loved her. I
No.
think he wanted her because she was lovely. Mm-hmm. And he knew everybody would like her.
I think so too.
She's just a pawn in his...
I think she was wealthy.
Yeah.
She was a good match for breeding.
And then she doesn't push back.
Yeah, she'll just,
So he's not going to choose Nesta.
no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably feel really sad too, but reading this, I'd be like, absolutely not. I'd be like,
Check his ring.
Sister with fire powers, incinerate him now.
Literally.
Goodbye. The Night Court goes back to Valaris, and Nesta is still very quiet and cold, and Elaine decides she wants to build a garden.
I'm gonna be honest. I felt really kind of sad for Nesta in this moment. Like, she just lost her father, who she clearly didn't have, like, a good relationship with. There's still, like, I'm sure a lot of guilt and, like, regret and
Yeah.
anger there. She also just, like, gruesomely murdered the king of Hybern. Like, she was, like, twisting the knife into his neck.
In order to decapitate him.
Like, there's a lot to process there. And, like, a lot of trauma happening all
Yeah.
at once. It's
Yeah.
just, it was
Yeah.
like, and I don't think she's ever killed anyone before.
Probably never
No.
also seen someone murdered. Especially
True.
not her,
her
dad.
flesh and blood.
Yeah.
And Feyre was depressed after, too. Not here, but, you know, when after the first book.
Right,
Yeah.
after killing innocents under the mountain. Yeah.
I mean, Hybern wasn't innocent.
but still, like, you're...
It's alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the ending of this, again, I mentioned this. It like sets it up for like Elaine and Nesta and Feyre to all heal together, and then they didn't. I'm so disappointed. That's why I keep bringing it up. I'm like, come on.
Well, Elaine and Feyre kind of do.
Again, it's
together.
always just like two of them.
Yes.
And it's Elaine and someone. It's either Elaine and Nesta or Elaine
because she's
and
docile.
Feyre.
She just clings to whoever's going to keep her safe. I thought it was really interesting. So, like, when Elaine and Nesta were turned Fae, right? They were both traumatized by that. But it seemed that this war and everything was starting to heal Nesta. But then the death of their father put her back. Like, it literally, like, regressed her so much. And she became extremely depressed and really broke her. Whereas turning Fae for Elaine broke her and put her into depression. But then the death of her dad seems to be the start of her healing. So it's kind of interesting how they had different reactions, especially to the dad dying. Like, the dad dying broke Nesta, but made Elaine realize, like, life is worth living.
And maybe just even seeing the war made Elaine realize that she needed to buck up. And, like, okay, being dumped by my fiance isn't the worst thing in the world.
No,
and other people are doing crazy things to save other people.
Yeah, it's going to be all right.
So then we get Reese's point of view in the next little chapter, and Reese is in the kitchen of their townhouse, right? And he's kind of contemplating their future and everything that has happened, and he hears everyone enjoying themselves in the other room. Both Reese and Feyre have this, like, fear that, like, this isn't really real, like, this happiness that they're feeling. And this makes me really sad. They're so used to, like, hard times coming that they're like, they can't even relax. They're like, okay, this isn't real. Like, this isn't happening. Like, something's going to go on. Like,
it's been that way for so long.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Like, they don't think peace can exist.
Yeah.
And it doesn't yet.
No.
No.
Yeah.
They're right.
And then in the last chapter, we get Feyre's point of view, and Feyre finds Reese on the roof, and they bargain to die together. And then they fly off into the night together. Okay, the bargaining moment was really sweet. Like, they're just like, I love you, whatever. But I feel like you can see how they didn't really, like, think it through. It was just more like,
it felt
I
like
love
a
you
joke.
so much. Like,
it was like, it's a bargain.
Yeah. Like, it was like a flirty.
Yeah.
You're like, no, those bargains actually work.
Yeah, and they know that. And they're like, look at our new tats. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? But then, so I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, what are you guys doing? But then I was like, I want to die with Michael.
Yeah.
But
you're not going to war all the time.
Right, but now I have a child, so I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
I would love to die with Michael at 99 in our bed, side by side to sleep. That's the goal.
Oh, 99, not 100?
Sure, whatever. I'm like, just give me a nice solid life. My brain's still intact. Michael and I are like, tonight's the night. Good night. And
Good
we die.
night.
But like, if in youth, like when we still have kids that depend on us, no, one of us needs to live.
Yeah.
So they were not thinking ahead.
They did not think ahead.
No.
We learned that Bryaxis is just on the loose somewhere, and it makes it seem like that story's gonna get tied up. It has not yet. Do we think we will, or do we think that's a plot hole?
I think it will. It's kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
It's also interesting to me that she's, like, on the loose, because didn't she just, like, want...
Wasn't it a deal, though?
Yeah.
It was like a bargain, so maybe Farrah wasn't
clear enough.
Like, after the war, you have to return here.
There was no
She just said,
deadline.
I will give you a window.
Yeah, and you only kill Hybern.
So actually,
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay, so when Feyre goes to meet Reese on the roof, she's, like, wearing this, like, sexy, like, lingerie robe thing, but then they, like, fly off together. I'm like, is she just flying in her lingerie over Valaris?
Yeah.
Yes,
Valaris
absolutely.
got a show.
They get more later.
It's a Victoria's Secret's fashion show up there.
In the sky.
Yeah, I was just like, wait, did she change? Or... That's kind of chilly, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's do a little book rating.
Yes, because that's the end of ACOWAR.
So 1 star is you didn't like it, which I'm assuming none of us will give a 1 star. 2 star is you wouldn't reread it, probably won't recommend it, but it wasn't that bad. 3 stars, good book, would recommend. 4 stars, great book from beginning to end, will make some changes. And 5 stars, creme de la creme, wouldn't change a thing.
Oh my goodness. I'm yawning.
I don't know. I'd say 3 or 4.
I say we could do decimals.
I'd say 3.5.
I agree.
I would say 3.5 as well. I think I gave Akamath 3.75, and this is not as good, but it was still really good. I mean, we're able to like read it and pick it apart, but you know, just reading it casually, it's a good book.
Yeah, the second book is my favorite, and then even though I don't love her, Nesta's book is my second favorite.
It's
a really good book.
I just love when female leads are pushing the man away, and then they're obsessed.
You love the hard to get.
Yeah, and they're obsessed and fighting for them.
Oh.
And like being
I
a little
also love
pathetic.
that.
I just like it when they're like a little pathetic for the girl.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You're like, just embarrass yourself a little
Yeah,
bit for me.
sure.
Oh my goodness. Okay, now we have some casting from Dayna, the pop culture queen.
So, who would you like to start with first?
Okay, I have to get the names up because I don't remember who some of these names are. Okay, Helion,
Yes.
and that is the...
High Lord of Day.
Okay, and so his description was being a little androgynous, kind of, like, right? Not androgynous, but he seems bi, right? No?
He's very sexual.
Okay.
Yeah, but Thiessen is also, I felt like Thiessen was described more androgynous. Helion?
Thiessen described as, to me, I picture a gay man for Thiessen. Not that there's like a
Yeah.
description for a gay man, but I just picture him. I only see him with a male lover. Not that you can't be bi and like whatever.
Yeah. He might.
But Helion, he wanted to foursome with Cassian Moore
Yeah.
and
Well, and
Asriel.
he dressed very extravagant, didn't
Yeah.
he?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm picturing, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Nakudi Gatwa. He's from Sex Education.
Okay.
He's Eric on Sex Education, and it's him.
Oh my
I
gosh,
love
with
him.
long
And look at
hair.
that.
His
The thighs.
Let me put up my... I want to already use them.
If you're watching on
Okay.
YouTube, you will be able to see the images.
Or
yes,
this one.
You can
I
see he looks
agree.
good with light hair
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
Because Helion also has light hair, doesn't he? Did I make that up? Am I just
I
giving
don't
all
know.
these?
He could do
I was giving
anything.
all these hotties light hair.
Next is Tarquin.
Oh, Morgan loves Tarquin.
I do.
I wanted a hot, strong man. Aldous Hodge.
See, I've never heard of any of these people. This
He-
is why you're the lady for
This man.
Oh, I know who that is.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he was on Black Adam.
Yes.
And then I'm showing it. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. The next one, and Lexi helped me with these two. We thought about it last night.
Lexi is Dina's sister.
Yes.
Shout out to Lexi.
Thiessen, which is Taylor Zachary Perez from like Red, White, and Royal Blue. Let me see.
Did they turn that into a movie?
Yes, they did.
Oh.
This man.
Oh,
This
he's
man.
also
He's
in.
good.
What else is he in?
The
that I'm
Kissing
thinking
Booth.
of? I'm thinking of
If
something
you haven't seen him in the
else.
kissing booth, yeah.
I think that would be good.
Oh nope. There you
Yes.
go. Okay, showed him. Then Baron Kevin McKidd, who's on the hospital show that everyone's obsessed with,
Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, that would be a
Yeah,
good Baron.
I think so too. A little older, but still handsome. Has the
Little
red hair. I like it. But you can
Okay.
tell that it's not like red in the prime. You know?
Yeah.
And then I put them opposite. I put Lady of the Autumn Court. No, I put these on the wrong names.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Hold on. Lady of the Autumn Court is, I don't know. I'll look at that later.
Okay.
Who's Vivian?
Vivian is oh, we didn't list him on here.
Oh.
We didn't list Callius.
Sorry, Callius.
Callius is the High Lord of Winter, and that's his wife.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You like how I remembered
Yeah, I put that.
Women.
Vivian and not
The
Oh
whatever
my
her
gosh.
is Anya Taylor-Joy.
Perfect. Perfect.
Vivian. I can definitely see Anya Taylor-Joy. Yes.
And then Jamie Campbell Bower for her husband.
Lady. Oh, for
Oh, so that
a
is her
man.
husband. So that is Callius. Okay.
Yeah. Because he's like white. They're like,
Oh, yes.
Oh,
White.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
and then who's next? Queen Vasa. Mm-hmm. She's redhead.
Yes.
Jane Levy.
I
love
it.
that.
Okay. Dracon. Daniel Sharman. Oh, he's so hot. He was from Teen Wolf.
Yes.
He's so beautiful. Okay.
Love
Showing.
the blue eyes. Yeah, wait, I don't really
We don't
remember
really
a
get
description.
Yeah, that's why I
So
asked.
great job.
That's why I asked. And then
Miriam.
Camila Marone, because she has honey beautiful skin.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, I feel like that's perfect.
She's so pretty beautiful. And then
These are great, Dayna.
Who's next? Oh, is that it?
I think that's everybody.
But who's this girl? Oh, Lady of the Autumn Court.
Yeah, it's okay. Oh, the bone carver? Or is that supposed to be Lady of the Autumn Court?
Someone out for Lady of the Autumn Court?
Maybe not.
The bone carver would be really hard to cast.
I guess I didn't. This is the bone carver to me. Jackie Earl Haley. He's so
he
scary. Yeah,
shapeshifts.
he shapeshifts, but this is his natural creepy form.
That's how he appears to Dayna.
Yeah, that's how he appears to me. And then I definitely thought of someone for Lady of the Autumn Court, but I can't think of it now.
If you do.
She's a redhead.
I think so.
Yes, she's a redhead.
Yeah.
That's how.
Yes, because Lucian has red hair. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for our recap. We did decide that we are going to read A Court of Frost and Starlight next. Hopefully it'll be 2 episodes, 3 max. But yeah, stay tuned for that next week.
And make sure to follow us on our socials. TikTok it's at Fate Pod.
Cast. I saw you look off into the distance, like trying to find it in your brain.
And Instagram and YouTube is at Fate Pod. It's at, oh my gosh. You think I would have this down by now?
Okay, wait, do it again. Start over.
Okay. Follow us on our shows.
We're not cutting any of this out.
No.
Follow us on our socials at It's Fate Podcast on TikTok.
Yes.
And at It's Fate Pod on Instagram and YouTube.
Yes.
Rate, subscribe.
Apple and Spotify.
Apple. Yep, we're on Apple and Spotify.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
You did it.
Bye.
Bye.